Hi everyone. So this is my week 11 presentation, and I'll just go ahead and jump in. One of my questions was, are schools the proper setting to teach politics and correct government? According to our reading, they are. We need to be teaching certain ideals and how government works and teach that to kids so that they understand that. And I agree with that. I think we should be teaching them all those things, because if we don't teach them how politics are done and how they're elected nowadays, because it's so different than when they held elections and just began government, and that's mainly what we learn, and we learn a little bit of government now, but not very much. And so I felt like I didn't understand government as well as I should have when I left high school. So I think it's important that we should be teaching that in our schools. I think we also need to keep it general while teaching the basics of politics and government. We shouldn't be going more in depth of one side of the scale or the other. And by that I mean, like, we shouldn't be teaching more Republican views, more Libertarian views, or more Democratic reviews, or more independent reviews. I think we should just be teaching general understanding of government and how it works in politics. Because our lives are based off of that. Literally, everything that happens in our country is based from that. So we need to understand it so that we can choose for ourselves. My second question is, how can we make education better within the current school system? I am very fond of unschooling. And I think that public schools can be successful, but not how they are now, because everything is based off of test scores, and those mean nothing. Those are simply just seeing if someone can memorize things or if they can't. And I don't agree with testing. I think it is kind of silly. I do think that we can do more project-based testing or presentation-based testing instead of answering questions on a worksheet, because that doesn't test the amount of learning someone really does. But we should definitely be using projects. Let them decide what they want to study and have them do it, and have them present it. Including parents as much as possible. Now, I know that there are some parents out there who don't want that, but if we can, we need to include them so that their kids have support from different sides and not just their teachers. Arts are essential. Kids have creativity. They need to express that. They need to be able to explore that creativity. And they can do that in music, in dance, in sports. 15 minutes of recess is not enough for kids. Myself as a mom, that's not enough for them to get their energy out. They need longer, and they shouldn't be deprived of those arts where they can get some of that energy and creativity out. And simply just looking at students more than their test results. Every student is different. They don't all learn the same. So why are we giving them all the same test? Food for thought. My third question is, what would a perfect school look like? I already mentioned a few things where we should base it more individually and look at each student and how they have and what they've learned. And like I said, unschooling. Let kids pick their own criteria of what they want to learn. Base it off of what interests them and keep going with that. And if they change it, change it. It takes a lot of work. It can be exhausting. But if you do it right, kids learn so much. Like I said, presentation testing. Have them get up in front of just the teacher and maybe a few peers, not the whole class, and just explain what they've learned. simply, if you're like, for instance, biology, have them explain the process of one of the cycles of the body. Have them explain that. And if you want, ask them questions in the presentation. I think that is so much more effective because then they learn from it than a test. Again, understanding rather than memorizing. Tests don't do much other than showing you can memorize things. And we need to teach all subjects. We need to be teaching, we need to be having time for outdoors. We need to be having time for the arts. And just let kids dabble in everything. Yes, that takes a lot of time, but it is so important for their own growth and to know what they like. Less time in schools. I do not think kids should be in school 8 hours a day. Yes, it works for parents who have jobs and need them gone that amount of time, but that's where after school programs come in. Have them have that time to play outside and to get that creativity out and to just be kids. They're kids. We need to not forget that. I don't ever want to be an elementary school teacher because it is ridiculous how they expect you to be teaching like 6 hours out of the 8-hour period, and kids don't. They will not pay attention that long. It's just not going to happen. And so people who are presenting these education ideas and who are sculpting them, I think their criteria needs to be that they need to be a parent and understand kids and have a degree in that. And whether it be in education or in something family related, they should have experience in those fields too. They shouldn't just get to decide what they think is best off of previous studies. You really need to experience it too in order to make something that really works. So thank you for listening. Sorry that was a little bit long.